man. So after watching, I think it was episode 7 of The Last Dance when they was going over the Bulls and Sonics in the finals, and there was an interview with Gary Payton, how he said, after Game 3, he went to George Karl, like, look, let me stick him. And they managed to win the next 2 games. And then, of course, when Michael Jordan was watching it on his little laptop or tablet or whatever, he laughed when Gary Payton said he made it difficult for MJ in those couple of games. What y'all think about that? Do y'all think it's true that Gary Payton did make it more difficult for him, or do you think just Michael Jordan's ego wouldn't allow him to admit that Gary Payton did make it more difficult for him in those 3 games?
So here's the deal. I start this one out because, again, I had front row seat to all those games.
And that was the same year he won Defensive Player of the Year. Go ahead.
Yeah. So Gary Payton, the glove, great defender in his day. In the defensive league back then, he was great at what he did. And he definitely created some trouble for anybody he guarded that he was able to guard, including Jordan. He didn't stop Jordan, but he created some issues for him because he's just a tough defender like that. With that being said, 2 things I want to say. Number 1 is Gary Payton, that wasn't the only time he was guarding Jordan. Those last 3 games, the last 2 in Seattle, and then the 1 game in Chicago when Chicago finally wrapped it up in Game 6. Payton was already guarding Jordan in games 1, 2, and 3. He just didn't start on him. But throughout the game, he spent his time just like Vincent Askew did, just like they put Sean Kemp on him a couple of times. Even Percy Snow had chances to guard him a little bit. Because their main defender who would have been there to guard Jordan was, I can't think of his name. And he was probably even tougher than Gary Payton because he was a little bit bigger and stronger. So he probably would have gave Jordan more of a fit. But he had a bad back throughout that series. So he couldn't play his normal game. What's his name? I think he was coaching. He even coached. He even coached in the league for a while. I can't even think of his name. Wow.
Nate McMillan.
Who?
Nate McMillan.
Yes, there you go. Nate was even tougher defender than Gary because he was a big and stronger. So Gary did guard Jordan through those first 3 games too, and Jordan gave him the buckets as well, and Gary slowed him down a little bit. The second thing I want to say is, and I'm not saying this because I'm Chicago. Everybody know I am Chicago. Bulls, my team. Been following them forever. Jordan and the Bulls did slow down after they got up 3 games to nothing. From that point, it was like they took their foot off the brakes. Uncharacteristic of them, yes, but they did, and I believe they just did it because they were like, okay, we really got them. We got them where we want them. No way they can beat us unless they come back to Chicago and win 2 games. They had to come to Chicago and win 2 games. So the Bulls like, okay, if we win Game 4 or Game 5 here in Seattle, cool, we win the championship. But they don't even care. I don't think they really even care. They didn't play with the same intensity in games 4 and 5 as they did in games 1, 2, and 3. And then Game 6 was just a struggle, but the Bulls, figured it out, went up 15, and then just coasted the rest of the way. So did Gary make a difference when he started guarding Jordan? Yes, I would give him that because of who he is. Did he really make a difference, though? Honestly, no. Jordan his shots was just whatever. The fire wasn't even there. And you can just see it. They kind of laid back. And then really, and I know I'm rambling on here, but really, after game 4 that they lost, they was up 3-1. They really didn't care about game 5 because they were like, okay, we can win it back in front of our fans. We'll just go home and win it. And I think that's what they did. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I do know that TP definitely like to talk a lot of trash too. I actually wonder who talked the most trash between them two.
He by far is
Yeah, because that's what he do. So I'm sure he probably gave Jordan some issues, but yeah, in the long run, I don't think like even if he started like the whole series guarding him, I don't think it still would have really made a difference because it's still Jordan. Yeah, he got some quick hands and all that, but he's just too little too, so that played a part in it. And Jordan too gifted of a scorer to not be able to adjust and get buckets. Kind of like how Patrick Beverly stunned KD that one game where he kind of threw him off, and it was looking cool for a second, but then once KD just like, I'm about 8 inches taller than this man, let me just kill him and Lou Will. That's what happened, and I think that would have been the same thing with Jordan and GP.
Yeah.
all right. So this whole time I've been trying to look up the game by game numbers for the 96 series, but I can't look it up. All I can look up is the average. But I'm gonna say this: his scoring numbers did drop when Gary Payton started guarding him. Like game 4, I want to say he only had like 22, if I'm not mistaken. Hold on, I think I got it right here. Ooh, I found it. All right, so game 4, Jordan ended with 23 points. Game 5, Jordan ended with 26. And then game 6, let's see, Jordan ended with 22. So overall, I mean, once Gary Payton did start guarding him, I mean, he wasn't putting up 30, 35 like he normally do in the finals. So I'll say he did make a difference, but I think they was just too far in the hole anyway for them to even come back. Like, they was overmatched anyway. Like, according to the internet, that was the weakest team ever to make it to the finals, even though they won like 62 games that season. But yeah, they saying the Supersonics is one of the weakest teams to ever make it to the.
Yeah, they said that on the episode 8.
Yeah,
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. Do you know how powerful that Sonic team was for those past few years? Even prior to prior to the '96 season, when they did make it to the finals, they was strongest. They was really strong. They was just that up and coming West team coming out that West. They finally beat Phoenix, and then they beat the defending 2-time champion Rockets to get to those finals. 64 wins, 64 and 18. You don't win 64 by being weak. Come on. That's the dumbest statement ever. That Sonic team, 64 wins, come on. That's incredible. And to beat not only that, but to cruise, I shouldn't say cruise to the playoffs, but they beat the two-time champion Houston Rockets. Knocked them out. They wasn't no
the Rockets. Let's be real. The Rockets was getting a little old though. You know what I mean?
They were getting old, yes, but it doesn't matter. I mean, the Bulls was older than the Rockets. Come on.
Yeah, I was surprised to hear that too.
We getting off topic though, but back to bring it home. Do you think Jordan laughed it off because he honestly believed Gary Payton didn't have an effect on him, or is that just his ego not being able to admit that Gary Payton did make it a little tougher for him?
I just think it could be both. I think Gary did make it a little tougher, and he just wasn't giving him that little props. But I don't think Gary made it tougher than Joe Dumars would make it. You know what I'm saying? Somebody else who was tough on Jordan defensively. Or John Starks was, a little tough on defense. I just think because I was able to watch those games, you can see the whole Bulls body language was different. It was almost like, oh man, we have 3-0. We got this. And instead of just playing at their height as they do, game in and game out every game, they just kind of crude. They wasn't spacing the floor. They wasn't running plays. They wasn't running back on defense. Like the intensity just wasn't there anymore. And I felt like they just felt like, oh man, we didn't expect to be a 3-0 on this team, especially game 3 to go in Seattle when they ready. Let's get back in the series, and you up and blow them out. They was like, Jordan was kind of clowning them in game 3. It was up 20-something at one point. So it was like, man, we got this. So Jordan didn't play as hard, is what I'm trying to say. They didn't come out to play hard game 4 and 5.
In kill mode? Jordan was
no.
in kill mode.
If you go back and watch the game, and I don't know if you can find it on YouTube or somewhere, if you go and watch that whole series, you'll watch games. It was 1, 2, 3, and I'm not taking nothing from Seattle and their defense and DP because he played, and I'm giving DP credit. He did make it tough on Jordan, even as Jordan was playing not as hard as he wanted. He still could have put up 30 on the team, even playing that way. DP did have something to do with why his points were down, but Jordan wasn't playing at his height, for those last few games. And especially when he got to game 5, he really was like, I don't even care if we lose because we'll go home and we can do this on Father's Day. But if you can, go back and look at that whole series and watch how the Bulls played the first 3 games versus the last 2. Or, games 4 and 5.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think he just probably didn't, like him laughing it off, I feel like he didn't feel threatened enough by GP for him to be like, yeah, he was locking me down or whatever. I think it was more so of I'm sure they both just have mutual respect for each other. Like, I don't think he made Jordan any extra mad, like any extra kind of motivation to have to take it to that next level. Like your boy did, what's my man's name that was on the Bulls? He was over there showboating when they won that one game. That made Jordan mad.
BJ?
BJ, yeah. BJ was over there showboating, and that just gave Jordan something to latch on to. So I think it was really just he had respect for GP. They probably talked a little smack in the game, but yeah, I think he really more so just focused on Father Day right around the corner, all that stuff. And it wasn't like any malice during that time when they was going at each other. It was just, but I will say he did get him though, probably caught him off guard game 4. Like, dang, just a different kind of defense on me. He know how to move his hands better than most people that's been guarding me so far. So, like anything, it's just an adjustment, but still wouldn't have mattered.
Yeah, I mean, it was too far in the hole anyway, so.
Yeah.
And you saw the shots he made over Gary Payton, even in games 4 and 5, were like, I can rise up over him every time. He was just turning on them and pull up over him. Gary couldn't stop those. So if he really wanted to close this out, either play harder. I don't know what the outcome of the game would have been. Can't predict that. But I can guarantee you Jordan could have played harder and would have knocked down more shots if he really was trying to go and close out that series.
But it's MJ, man. He's supposed to have a killer instinct. They call MJ a killer, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he retired, bro. He got tired of winning. He was like, man, everybody weak. Let me go play baseball.
Bottom line is his percentage did drop when Gary Payton started guarding him, though.
Well, yeah, that's supposed to happen though, because
let's be real, he did have an impact, but who gonna officially shut Michael Jordan down? Like, nobody. So
I mean, the best defenders are gonna have a better impact on the best offensive players, but still not gonna be enough to decide the outcome of a series. That's what I'm saying. I don't think his defense was enough to decide the outcome of a series or that series.
But I'm saying if Gary Payton didn't start guarding him in game 4, they would have got swept. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, probably.
He extended the series. That's all he really did.